Frank Kaminsky, man, it is good to see you. I miss you in Madison. First off, I got to think that social distancing in Phoenix is easier than social distancing in Madison. And judging by your tan, I'm jealous.
It is. I mean, I'm adequately socially distant from everyone else. It's just I'm doing so inside of a pool.
We saw the workout video that you shared. Is that at your house?
Yeah, that's in my house out here.
So you must be staying in tip-top shape with a regime like that.
Well, yes. I mean, is it a microcosm or how do you say that word?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, that works. Of what I've been doing since all of this is I'm in the hot tub, I'm in the pool, I work out, I lay around, I do nothing. I foamily smash beers together and chug them while standing in a hot tub and then jump in a pool fully clothed.
I would expect
the
nothing less.
typical NBA training regimen.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's how
as prescribed.
No,
so let's start.
Not at all. I got an idea. Can you just film me doing this for like a minute?
So I want to ask about training because I think in Arizona, the restriction on safer at home lifts this week,
Tomorrow.
right? Doesn't it?
Tomorrow, yeah.
So will you be going back to your facility? What's that going to look like for you as an MBA?
I'm going back tomorrow. They're going to have time slots for players. I mean, I think it starts at like 7 a.m. tomorrow. So the young guys, like rookies, G League guys, like two-way players, will go really early. And then the rest of us are scattered throughout the next 5 or 6 hours or whatever it is. And you can do an hour on the court with a coach and then I believe an hour in the weight room. But when you're not training and you're just in the facilities, you got to have face masks and gloves and stay away from everyone. I don't know. They sent us a long list of rules. I haven't really read them yet, but I know I'm going tomorrow morning, so it'll be good. It's been long. It's been really long.
So, all right. Besides the facility, when quarantine lifts, where's your first stop? Like, what have you been counting down to?
Like not everything I do around here is going to be open. Like I've been golfing a lot. That has stayed open pretty much the whole time. And what the golf courses have done is just they've spaced out the tee times. And then they put like the pool noodles in the hole so nobody grabs the flag stick. They've done a lot of stuff. So golfing's been fun.
You hustling retirees out there or what are you doing?
No, just playing for fun. I wish I was that good. Actually, funny story. I came as close as I ever have. I golfed probably 10 times in like 2.5 weeks. And those first like 5 or 6 rounds are so enjoyable because like you don't care, you're hitting the ball well, and then you start to overanalyze everything and then you start sucking. It literally happened this fast for me. I came literally this close to a hole-in-one. Closest I've ever been by far. Literally the easiest tap-in birdie putt I've ever had on a par 3. The next 4 holes, I did not hit the ball off the ground. I literally, after the last swing, we were on like hole 12. I just got in my cart. I drove back to the clubhouse, got in my car, and left. I haven't gone.
That is the most humbling sport. I both love it and hate it in the same round, like you're talking about.
So frustrating. It's so frustrating. Like you literally can look like you're an amazing golfer 1 second and then literally look like you've never played for the next.
How far do you hit the ball as a 7-footer? You got to have a huge long swing.
Far. Yeah, it's really far. That's like the best part of my game.
Is it straight?
The tee box. Yeah. I taught myself how to use a driver. I used to go to the driving range all the time, but never actually really played golf because I only like hitting the driver. So like my drive is really good and everything else sucks.
So you're perfect for like a scramble team.
Oh, that's my favorite. Like I'll never finish 18 holes. Never. Like will not do it under any circumstances. I think like if I'm playing by myself, like 12 to 14 is perfect. And then that's it for me. But if we're doing like a 2v2 scramble or something fun like that, then I'll want to play like 2 or 3 rounds in a row.
That's an attention span thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So who's the best you've played with? Like, who's the best guy you've been on the course with? Somebody with a longer attention span than yours, maybe.
The best golfer I've ever played with that hasn't actually like professionally played golf is actually Jonathan Brust. He's an unreal golfer. Ben's older brother. He's played. I'm a member. My agent got me hooked up with a membership in a country club back in Chicago, where I'm like a national member. So like I have like a locker and stuff, but I don't really ever. I mean, I play there. My dad enjoys it, but like it's fun. But I'm not like a full country club. I don't want to ever have that title for myself. It's just a deal I couldn't pass up. I played
That's
there
what
with him.
That's what Bo used to call Ben Brust. He'd call him a country clubber, and
Yeah.
it was not a term of endearment.
No, it was not. And I don't ever want to be that. And I don't ever want to have that label. So I played there with him, and he's just a really, like, he hits the ball. He's the only person I've played with that hits the ball further than me.
So, all right, what else besides golf? What else you been doing under quarantine? You been binge watching any shows, I presume?
Yeah, I
Okay,
have.
what? Outer Banks?
I watched that so fast. John B.
You sound defeated about it.
No, it's just the point I'm at right now. I'm watching a show that I absolutely do not like. Like, it's just, I'm not saying like it's a good show and everything, and I see how people like it, but I just personally cannot. I hate drama for the sake of drama inside of television shows, and that's all it is. I'm watching All American right now, but it's like a thing I can't stop. It's so bad I can't stop watching it.
So you'll leave the course early, but you will not bail on a show even if it stinks. Is that correct?
That's the thing. I would normally bail on the show, but I'm not bailing right now because I don't have anything else to do. So like, I don't have an excuse. It's like, okay, I'd rather be doing this, but like, there's nothing that I could say I'd rather be doing at this point. Like, I just can't wait for like, I don't know, like stores and movie theaters and all that kind of stuff to open back up. Cause that's my kind of thing. Like, I'm really into movies and TV shows and stuff like that. So like, I really do enjoy going to movies. And that's something I do on the road to eat up like some time and nights in cities I don't really know anyone. So I haven't really been able to do that. And I kind of miss going to the movies because I got like one of those Premier Pass memberships. So like I get to skip all the lines and everything.
Sure cool. You do. So do you have roommates? Do you have roommates out there?
Yeah, my family's here right now too.
Oh, they are. So yeah. I know you love the show Entourage. And so now that you're like this big NBA celebrity, do you have an entourage? Like, I just picture like your high school buddies living with you and doing nothing but just living off being Frank's high school buddy.
I wish that was the case. I really do. I wish I could move all of my friends, especially right now. I wish all of them were here. And we've had people like coming and going because it never really got bad here. Like, I know the coronavirus is like scary and everything, but it's not horrible. But yeah, I got one friend who lives with me that does a lot of like training and working out, and he's like helps with pretty much everything. But other than that,
you need a turtle. You need turtle.
I wish I had a turtle. I really do. I wish I had one of my friends, but my friends are smart, man. I don't think I could convince them. Like I would try at this point. Trust me.
Are you building a house? Did we hear that correctly? In Phoenix?
I'm moving into a house out here. Yeah, by the end of the month.
So you building a guest house for these guys, or is that?
Yeah, there is a guest house. I didn't build the house myself. I bought the house while it was being constructed. So I like to throw that in there.
So have you had some say in some of the design on it?
Some of the things, yeah.
What's one over the top thing you put into the house that you're like, no house needs that, but I want that?
So in Arizona, a pool heater is apparently like, I asked for a heated pool and they looked at me like I was like, why do you need a heated pool out here? I was like, well, it gets to like 60 in the winter. So like,
the sun.
Yeah. Like, well, it's going to be 114 degrees in the summer. It's like, well, yeah, I'm not going to go in the pool when it's 114 degrees out. I'm going to stay in the air conditioning and go in the pool at night.
I know you're a Chiefs fan, Super Bowl champs. Frank, let's hear it.
The Chiefs.
I watched Patrick Mahomes do like a tour of his house, and he built a shoe room. That was like his most prized possession. His wife got to pick everything else in the house, and he built a shoe room.
I'm going to do that, but I'm just turning one of the bedrooms into that. I'm not going to build – like, I got – like, I don't know. There's some things I added that just like aesthetically cool, just like water features outside. And I put up like this wall to have like 2 extra like waterfalls outside, just so there's like more privacy from the neighbor's house and they can't like look into certain parts of the house. And one of them is like outside. So I have in my bathroom, I'm going to have a freestanding bathtub. And because I really enjoy this is gonna be weird. I like taking baths. And the doors, the sliding doors behind will completely open, and there will be like a waterfall feature like outside.
I have a real question about that. Like, I barely fit in a standard bathtub, and I'm a short person. So you being are there like extra king size
Yeah,
bathtubs in length?
there's big back. You can get bigger bathtubs.
It's called a swimming pool.
The hot tub's not enough.
Yes.
He needs the bathtub too.
I actually don't have I'm gonna do a hot tub on my own. I didn't get that. That's one feature because I don't really like hot tubs. I don't know. Call me crazy.
So if you're building a house in Phoenix, you must be pretty comfortable there. You must enjoy that. Is that a place you might, regardless of what team you're playing for?
Yeah, I think this could definitely be a place. I mean, for me, real estate has become like something I'm interested in, and like investment wise, something I'm starting to take like way more serious. And I think with this house, I mean, I don't want to say it's like taking advantage of the unfortunate situation we're in, but with all these new construction homes that we're going in, obviously prices were dropping, and I obviously have the financial means to, invest in something and potentially in a couple of years make a nice return on it. So that's more so like why I pulled the trigger on buying a house out here, just because I see all the opportunity and everything. And like I said, given the unfortunate circumstances, it sucks for a lot of people right now, but at some point you got to kind of take advantage of it.
But I mean, could this be a long-term spot for you? Do you like the basketball fit?
Yeah,
with
I
the
love
Suns?
it here. I love it here. Obviously I want to be here for as long as I can. It's a really good situation for me. I like the staff. I like the organization. We're building a new practice facility. The arena is being completely renovated. We got a good young core on a young team. I think we were the second youngest team in the NBA this year. So it's a really, really, really good situation, but you know how fast it can change. Like, especially now you really understand like how the business of basketball is very important. Just like people's money is starting to be taken away. It's just, things can change so fast. You don't know how this is going to be recovered from. You don't know what the situation is going to be. You don't know how the contracts are going to shake out. You don't know what the salary cap. There's just so many moving parts at this point that, you could think you could be somewhere for a very long time, but something like this hits and that can change really fast.
Yeah, I want to get to like restarting the NBA here and what that looks like and what you've heard, but are you healthy now? Because your season, I was doing the research here. We're now media professionals in this business. Apparently, you were averaging 11 points and 5 rebounds at the time of a knee injury in late December. So, walk us through what happened, and how you feeling now?
So, obviously, we had DeAndre Ayton got suspended at the beginning of the season. I came here to play. I'm more of a 4 in the NBA than I am a 5. Just with the way, you kind of go small ball 5 shooters. That's when I become a center. But naturally, I'm more of a power forward. But just unfortunate circumstances. We had DeAndre get suspended, and then Aaron Baines got hurt. So I was kind of forced to play more center this year. And pretty much strictly center. And, when you're not necessarily expecting that brutal beating that playing center in the NBA is night in and night out, things kind of happen. And I don't know, it kind of caught up to me, and I took a big fall, and I didn't know that it was bad at the time. Like I had like some pain and stuff in my knee, but it wasn't like bad, and I didn't want to stop playing. Like I'll play through pretty much anything if I can. But it just got to the point where it was just getting worse and worse and worse. And I played on it for like a month, and then I was just like, okay, I got to sit down. Like I got to get this looked at. And there was one game, I think we were playing in Sacramento, and I tried to go out there and play. I literally felt like I was like dragging my leg along. And then I found out I had a pretty big fracture in my kneecap. And I just missed, I don't know. That was, I think, December 31st. I think was when I found out. And then the day I got cleared to finally resume basketball activity was the day they canceled the season. So it was just unfortunate.
Perfect.
Literally that Wednesday, I got my MRI in the morning. I got the call that afternoon, like, you're good. You can start doing basketball workouts again. You're at, with a knee and fractures and stuff. Once it's at like 90-something% healed, you can start building up so that by the time you hit 100, you're like ready to go. And I was going to be ready probably within a week or two, and nothing. Just saw the thing. The NBA season is canceled.
But now you're good to go. So if they do restart, you hit the ground running.
I've been good to go for a while now.
So what are you hearing in terms of? I'm hearing different models of maybe something in Vegas, maybe something in Orlando. What are you hearing?
We've had a lot of calls. I'm the Players Association rep for our team. So we've had a lot of like individual meetings and talks with the Players Association, with the league. We had a call with Adam Silver late last week. It's just everyone's trying to find a way that makes sense, that is safe for everyone. Obviously, there's a lot of moving parts, like that I don't know if everyone's like fully understanding, because it's like the same thing with everything in Armida. You hear just small snippets of everything when nothing kind of fully comes together. So there's obviously a huge push for players to play because they've reduced the remaining salaries for the rest of the season that are paid out. Players get paid on an annual, like year-round thing. They're going to reduce that by 20-25% and hold it in escrow until you kind of figure out what we're going to be doing here. But the biggest thing is just to make sure, the biggest thing we've heard is to make sure that we can do it and everyone can be safe. And that means either basically testing every day. People are at one of these Orlando or Vegas sites, or being able to completely isolate ourselves from the population while we resume the season. So nothing's been set in stone, and the NBA said they're going to take another 2 to 4 weeks to come up with a plan and make a decision. But if the season gets canceled, I'm scared for like the future ramifications of what that means for like the CBA and contracts and salary cap and all that stuff. It's just, I think it's at the point now where I think everyone just wants to finish the season and get back on track.
How did you become the Players Association rep? Because right now that's a position that's going to carry so much responsibility, given everything you just talked about, that you're trying to help navigate between the Players Association and the league. How did you get into that role?
Yeah, don't take this the wrong way, but I'm not sure I could have envisioned that about 7 or 8 years ago.
That was the other part of my question: is could you have ever pictured yourself being the Players Association rep?
When it happened the first time in Charlotte, it was my second year, and everyone just like, you literally have a meeting at the beginning of the season and with the Players Association, they have regional reps for every team. They come in, they present, they talk about everything, what it's going to be like this year, changes in the Players Association, changes with the league, what's going to be coming up, what negotiations are going to be, all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the meeting, they go, okay, it's time to vote on who you want your rep to be. And literally everyone on the team just says someone's name out loud. And for the last 4 years, every single year, whenever somebody says something, I don't say anything. I'm not like, ooh, me, pick me. It's just everyone goes Frank. And I'm like, all right, I'll take the responsibility. And I mean, it's not too difficult, because obviously for all the Players Association meetings, anyone in the NBA can come. Every team has a rep and an alternate, and they're either the rep or the alternate. It's mandatory for one of the two to be at the meetings, and I go to them. So I enjoy like learning about the process and what's happening and what's going to be changed and what we're voting on. I think that's cool.
So has it been good for you? Like, have you grown and gathered more of an appreciation for the business side? Like, have you gained something from it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I'm learning so much more about like what goes into the negotiations between a Players Association and the union and the actual league. Like there's give and take that happens on literally every topic. Like you see something like, I don't know, a topic that's going to come up is removing the one and done rule in the NCAA. And like, you got to realize at the end of the day, like the union, the players are going to negotiate something that we want so that the NBA can get something that they want. I just, growing up, or what you see in the media, you just assume, oh, the NBA is just going to do that. They're just going to say, okay, it's cool now for like one and done. And like the one and done rule is gone. But that's not how it works. Like it has to be unanimously voted on between the NBA and the union for a rule like that to pass. And then there's got to be something. like you saw yesterday, like the Wilson basketballs, like that came out that Wilson's going to be the new basketball of the NBA. Like that was negotiated upon. Like that's something that everyone pretty much has to agree on.
I assume Sterling was the runner-up.
Wisconsin doesn't even use Sterling anymore, do they?
No, Wilson now.
Wilson, yeah.
Sterling had one vote, and it was the Phoenix Suns, I think, their rep.
Those Sterling basketballs were really good for about 3 days. And then, like, they lost their, like, smoothness really fast. But it is an advantage in college when you show up and, like, you are the only team that uses that ball.
Yeah, I know other Big Ten teams would have a rack of them and they would practice it before that game. But especially if you play like if Syracuse comes into town and they're like, what is this? They have no idea.
Yeah. It's like when we used to go to Michigan and they used the rock. Like that ball was so bad. But like it's an advantage because they use it every day for practice. And we use it twice a year, maybe.
I've always thought it's weird. Even in college football, like you know that in college football, each team uses their own ball.
Yeah.
Like they don't like that's really strange to me too. Like why would you do that? Why does each team use its own ball?
Money.
What was the
we're off topic. There is no topic.
Thinking back to a couple years ago, when wasn't it Illinois where like the women's ball got used by mistake in a men's game? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah. For like until the first media timeout.
Yeah.
The men's team used a women's ball. Can you imagine that happening, Frank?
I would know immediately. Like
right.
But
like
two teams didn't realize it.
And just stop. You're like, this is not right.
Right. You would have thought you'd notice during warm-ups or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was
I like the way the NBA does it. It's they bring out 3 basketballs and then one player on each team, normally like the point guard in each team gets to go up and like basically pick which one they want. Each team picks one. And then if they can't decide, if they pick 2 different ones, they use the 3rd one.
Really?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Okay, so as Players Association rep, what's the one rule you want to see changed? What's the one thing you would fight for in the NBA?
I don't know.
This is a very important platform. I'm sure Adam Silver is going to see this.
So there's like an audit clause in the collective bargaining agreement where each year 10 teams can be audited because like the players and owners split the revenue. So it's called the BRI, the basketball related income, and they can do 10 audits a year, and most of the time at least a couple of those audits return more money to the players because 10% of our contracts are held in escrow. I don't know. I feel like an audit of every team should be a thing. I don't know why. Like I don't know. I just always felt like if you're gonna like say you can do up to 10, why not just do everyone? To make sure that the players are getting everything that they're supposed to be getting.
What's the NBA lifestyle like? Like not right now because it's strange, but I don't know. Just as far as being an NBA professional, that you're like 82 games, the grind of that, the travel,
it's hard.
The spotlight, like just all of it. It's just
it's really hard. Like like there's so much that goes into just the daily life of being an NBA player that, I didn't even know coming out of college. Like I didn't you get drafted in the NBA. Okay. Like, cool. But you don't like actually realize like how much goes into like one single day. It's like, you're waking up in the morning, you got to have a talk you got to walk into the arena, you got to go lift. You got to go to practice. After practice, you got to get this done. And that's the bare minimum if you want to be just like an NBA player. Like if you want to actually be good, like every day has to be committed to like being the best you can be and mastering your craft. Like there's some people, like there's so many good basketball players in the NBA that can just skate along and they have so much talent that it's almost unfair how good they are. Like they're just naturally gifted athletically. But like for someone like me, like I got to work every single day to make sure that I'm keeping up and making sure I'm in the best shape possible so that I can compete with those kind of people. And that goes into everything. That's proper sleep, proper nutrition, working out multiple times a day. Like right now, I'm working out like 3 times a day. Like I don't have, there's like no excuse to not be, like, if not, I'd just be laying around all day. And that's not conducive to get to where I want to go. So it's just so much work. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of fun. Like I have a really good time. Like I get to do things that, not a lot of other people get to do. Like I just enjoy like me, like I just enjoy like the little things. Like I'm not like the kind of person that's going out and buying like all these ridiculously luxury things. Like I like going out on a lake somewhere random and just being able to rent a boat for an entire day and just drive around and not worry about a thing. Like that's the kind of stuff, like I can do those things. And that's the thing, those are the things I enjoy.
So when you were at UW, we set up this thing for you and Will Ferrell to have an interview. So, and at the time you were like, this is one of the coolest things I've ever done, like getting to meet this celebrity. Now, do you have like a celebrity circle? Like, do you have people, like, are there people now that you have in your phone of like, oh yeah, this guy? And
yeah. To an extent.
I want names.
Like, like there's, I mean, yes, there's people, but like, I don't necessarily like enjoy that aspect of it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's always been something like you get to meet all these really cool people and do all these cool things with people and have like these experiences that are so much fun. Like I've gone to concerts and like been able to be on stage and like be backstage and do like cool things like at music festivals and all this stuff. But like, I don't know. I've never felt like comfortable like around like the top like tier people. You know what I mean? Like I have my group of friends and we have a really good time and I never want to like be somebody I'm not. So like, I don't know, whenever I'm around like that kind of stuff, I kind of feel like that's just not me. Like I just like being a person that's just like in the crowd. Like that's the best way I can describe it. Like when you're at a concert, you see like all these different tiers of people. You see the people that are backstage, the people that are in VIP sections, the people that are above like these rafters and booths and stuff. I want to be the guy that's just like in the middle of everyone. Like that's always how I've been. Like that's when I really thoroughly enjoy it. Like I don't like being.
That's because you're 7 feet tall and you can see over everybody. See, if I'm in the middle, I can't see anything.
I never have to worry. But like you get my point. Like I just like being a normal guy. Like that's something that's important to me. That's something I get way more enjoyment out of just being a regular dude than I do of being like looking around and being like, okay, like I don't know. Cause
I believe that.
I can do anything. I really can do pretty much anything I want. So like, I never have to make the decision. Like I'll never have to sit there and think, no, I can't do that. I can't go do that right now. Like if I wanted to like go be a VIP package at something, like I could go do it and not think twice about it. But that's just, I get no like satisfaction of enjoyment. And I feel like I'd be selling myself short on the experiences I would be making if that's how I did everything.
So you don't want to name drop out of your contact list, but dude, you worked for Michael Jordan. Like Michael Jordan was your boss.
He was.
Like that's the ultimate celebrity. I mean, we've all been watching The Last Dance and these idea that, you know,
I got some pretty good Last Dance stories.
All right, let's go. Let's that's what we're here for. We're just here to talk about Michael Jordan anyway. So let's go.
So, you know, the part where Jerry Krause said Jim Stack is the one that came to me and was like, I want to trade for Rodman. It's my mom's brother. Jerry Krause is the guy that created my aunt's position within the Bulls. She's an assistant coach now, but she started in the ticket office with Joe O'Neill, who used to give me all my free tickets in high school. And like my senior year in high school, we used to go to pretty much whenever like the big teams would come into town, he'd literally just give me like 4 tickets to get in the arena and just basically do whatever. Like we'd go sit in like whatever seats were open. Like I never had to worry about it. Like I never had to like follow the rules. I feel like I just take the tickets and just go sit wherever I wanted with me and my 3 other buddies, and we'd watch the game. And I mean, there are some, like if you think like you go back to like the Rodman stuff, like I've heard so many stories about what that guy would do, and now you're starting to see it, like just cracking open a Miller Lite, pounding it, getting on motorcycle just riding off into the sunset, be like, I'm taking 48 hours off. Like, I'm going to Vegas. There's so many things like little things. I mean, the Bulls back then were rock stars, and you hear stories from like everyone, like, because I know a bunch of people was in the organization. Like, they literally land in cities and have limousines waiting for them to take them to wherever they wanted to go. Like, it's just, I can't get into the full details of like all the stories I've heard, but like I've known about this stuff and like all, how the Bulls were like, and I'm sure Douye knows the same stuff that I do. So like just how the Bulls and how that situation like unraveled. I've known about that for a long time, but I feel like it's kind of fun. It's kind of ironic that everyone's just learning about it now.
Are you learning things as you watch it, or are you finding that you knew almost all of this anyway?
I mean, I'm still learning things like about like the relationships between certain individuals like on the team. You don't know the extent of it that far because like that's kind of coming out now. But like everything else, like how the Bulls were breaking up and Jerry Krause didn't want to pay people and he saw certain things as like, you know, this is the end, this is the last year. I knew all that stuff. Like I was told that stuff a long time ago. Like, cause you know, you used to ask questions. Like I used to ask my aunt and uncle questions and be like, well, why didn't like they won 6 in a row? Like, why was everyone gone? Or they won 6 out of 8. Why was everyone just like done? Like, you know, those are questions a little kid asks.
So a big theme has been how like Michael Jordan, right? And how he competitive was and like ruthless he was, even to his teammates to try and get the best out of them. So what was he like to play for? Like, did you see that competitive side when he was in front office?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. He wants to win. Like he doesn't like kind of want to win. Like he's not sitting up there being like, I want to win. And it's just like a blanket statement. It's like, no, I really want to win. There would be times where there was a time where we got a text and it was we hadn't been playing well. You know, we started off the season playing extremely well. Hadn't been playing well. And then we got a text meeting in the film room. And we, in Charlotte, we never used the film room, like never. So like you're saying film meeting in the film room, you're like, all right, like something must be really bad. And you walk in the room and he's just sitting there in the corner and we start going through this film session and literally he is like stopping and like asking the hard questions that like kind of all of our team has been like kind of tiptoeing around. It's like, well, why is this going on? And why is this going on? And why is this going on? And he's the one sitting there asking like all the hard questions. And it's like, it's almost like awkward to an extent, but like when you realize it's like, this is how he probably was with his own teammates all the time. You can understand like why they were as successful as they were because he wasn't afraid to like ask the hard questions and get to like the root of problems. And I could see how some people perceive that as, you know, just being a jerk and like not being like a good person to be around. But like also if you love winning and like really want to win, like that's the kind of guy you want to have on your team. Because I can tell you right now, in every NBA locker room, there's not somebody that's willing to bring up the tough stuff. Like when two people aren't clearly not getting along or there's some sort of rift or anything, those things can last for an entire season or multiple years. Like if you don't address the problem. And he addressed the problem, like all of them, like in a 20-minute span.
So harder film session to sit through, Bo Ryan or Michael Jordan?
Bo Ryan.
Why?
My God. There were some film sessions where it was like, whoo. There was one time with Douye. Douye used to come a little bit late. Because he had his master's course. So he was on a little bit different schedule than everyone else because the electives or classes for his master's didn't really line up with practice time. So he used to come like 10 to 20 minutes late to every film. And there was one time he's like, hey guys, I'm not going to tell you what it was, but Douye finally did this right. So when he gets in here and I show this clip, everyone has to stand up and give him a round of applause. And like, so Douye walks in and he's like kind of going off about like, Douye, you've been doing this wrong all season long. Like I've asked you to do this, like make it like setting up to where it's going to be like just him ripping into Douye. And then he's like, but you finally did it right. And then all of us stand up and start clapping. And you could tell that Duye felt so, because he walks in and almost immediately it's like he's getting berated in the film session. And then he just completely flips the script on him. And all of us are standing up and cheering for him. And that kind of like a testament, the old Bo Ryan, like the first 2 years when I was there, Bo Ryan would have just let it go and just stood in and ripped into him and been like, deal with it. But new Bo Ryan actually gave Duye the credit for doing it correctly after he asked him to do it that way and in a game. So that's just one of the small little things that I remember. But there were some times where it was, when he was yelling at you, that was not stopping. And it did not stop through the practice. And we would go, those things in the film room, what he would say in the film room and get upset about, he would sit there the whole practice and talk about it the whole practice too. So you hear it for an hour in film, and then you hear it for another hour in practice. And then you're lucky if after those 2 hours, that's the last you hear about it.
We've heard about this idea of new Bo. I like how you put that, new Bo Ryan.
Yeah.
Did you guys, is that you guys? Like, did you guys create new Bo Ryan?
Don't say you guys. That was Nigel. That was not us. Nigel came in and from the first day started calling him Pops. So that's when things started to change.
But you all benefited from it.
I'll tell you this. I don't know if it was because he saw something in me or he just truly didn't like me. But my first 2 years on campus, he was not a Frank Kaminsky fan. I can tell you that much. My first practice, all he did was make fun of like how I have a sleepy face the whole time, the whole practice. And I was like, I was thinking to myself, is this what it's really going to be like for like the next 4 years? And then you see him 2 years later, he walk into practice and just immediately start cracking jokes with everybody. It's like, how did it go from that to this?
And it was small things too. Like it was small things. Like everybody used to have to wear exactly the same thing at practice. No, no undershirts or anything. And it was strict. And then all of a sudden it changed, and you guys are wearing long sleeve shirts under your practice jerseys, and some guys have tights on, and all of a sudden Frank's got goggles. And what's going on?
No, not the goggles thing. I hated those things, but it was like, because I wore an arm sleeve in high school. And then I get to campus and I'm like, I go into the equipment guy's room and I was like, can I get an arm sleeve? And they're like, no, everybody's got to look the same. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, no, like Henry has to approve for you to wear an arm sleeve. I was like, okay. And then the next year Sam shows up and Sam starts wearing tights and stuff in practice. And every single day, I give Sam a lot of credit, every single day, he would make it a point to tell Sam how he looked like different than everyone else. And then slowly over the course of time, everybody started doing it. Because you know what it's like on the practice court. It's like 2 degrees in the middle of winter with a hockey rink underneath. It's freezing. So it's like, it just becomes like you want to wear long sleeves and tights just to like be warm throughout practice. And literally it's like this transformation, like slowly over time, like the comments just slowly start going away. And then we're doing it in games and nobody really cares. As long as you're winning, hey, you can do whatever you want as long as you're winning. If we were losing and looked like that, it would have been a completely different story.
There's been a lot of attention on you guys during this quarantine. Maybe, I mean, it's, I guess, 5-year reunion, 5 years out, but also I think people are just starved for like the good old days and like when there used to be games. So have you been like thinking about your Wisconsin career more lately because you've been on Zoom calls and watching replays of games?
I've kind of been forced to. I don't necessarily like thinking, because I've said it, and I kind of said it when, we did the whole the jersey retirement thing. I'm kind of a person that needs to have a full picture and perspective to fully, like, truly understand the gravity of a situation. Like, I'm just not sure that, like, I have, like, complete perspective on everything yet. Because I haven't completed my basketball career yet. So I don't know what it means in terms of everything yet. I know, like, what I accomplished and, like, what our teams did at Wisconsin is pretty significant. Like, it'll have a lasting effect for a long time. Like I pretty much understand that at this point, but it's still like new in the grand scheme of life. Like, I don't know, like, you know, like some of us are married, some of us aren't, myself included. Like, I don't know what like the next 10 years of my life looks like. You know what I mean? Like I don't have, I can't put that into perspective when I know there's still a lot of like important things ahead to accomplish. Like my basketball career is not over. Like I'm still only 27. I hope to win a championship in the NBA at some point. Like that is my absolute like number one goal in life at this point. And so like the college, Wisconsin and everything is like, it's amazing. And like, I know it'll always be like a huge, or if not the biggest part of my basketball career, but like, it's not over yet. So like, I don't know like what to put where. Like, it's still like, it still feels to me like I'm fitting square pegs into a round hole at this point in my life. I don't have an understanding of how everything like fits together.
Have you had enough time between then and now though to really appreciate what you guys had as a group?
Absolutely.
Like the relationships and the camaraderie, because we all saw that from the outside and saw that it was something special. I mean, have you guys gotten there where you've realized just how special what you had, what it was?
Yeah, and you see that every single time we get together. Like, it's like weddings, bachelor parties, you know, just texting up people being like, hey, are you guys going to be in Madison? I'm coming up there. Like, you can just see like how important all the relationships were to all of us by just how we interact with each other still now. It's like nothing's changed. Like, people have grown up. Like, we all have jobs. We all have different things going on in life. We're all doing something different. But it's like when we see each other, it's like just seeing another family member. Like, that's literally what it feels like. Like, I had Dan Fahey, Josh, and Ben came out here to Arizona in February. And literally it was like three just like family members just like kind of hanging out. Like, that's the best way I can like describe it. It doesn't feel like, all right, it doesn't like click in your head, oh, that was my college teammate. Like, I'm never going to like be like, when you go to introduce someone and like, you know, like, this is my blank, this is my college teammate, this is my work friend, that's not how I like introduce or would introduce these people. Like, this is Ben, this is Sam,
this is my Ben,
these are my people. Like, that the relationships we made they're better and bigger than what we achieved. That's the best way I can put it.
You probably, and like you said, you don't necessarily have perspective of this, but one of the things that made you guys so endearing, like to fans, and why that team was so memorable, I guess, is because you guys were also self-aware of your like goofball nature, and that you guys didn't, you were never too big for the stage, or it didn't act like it, you know, like, so you're at a press conference at the Final Four, your second one in 2 years, like, yeah, we're kind of a big deal around here. But yet you guys would handle it as like, oh, this is still funny.
This is still weird. It was weird. Like, none of us expected to be there. That was the thing. Like, we didn't know like how good we were until we were good. Like, until we were like really good. And that's the thing. Like, I honestly, like, you think like, I truly just think it was like just a basic non-understanding of what we were actually doing. That's the reason like why all that was happening. Like, yeah, you like get to the Final Four and like it's like this amazing thing and it's like this great celebration. But at the end of the day, like, leading up to that, it's not like we were like, we're playing for a Final Four, we're the better team, we're really good, we're doing this is what we're doing, this is our game plan. It's that just wasn't us. We wanted to get up on the thing and just act like the idiots we act like all day, every day, leading up to getting to where we were. And once that we finally got, it's not like we were going to stop. It's not like, you know, like you see these terrible dramatic TV shows where somebody gets a little bit of success and then they completely change who they are as a person. Like, that wasn't going to be any of us. Like, we were just going to achieve what we were going to achieve and have a lot of fun doing it. And we were going to do it our way or nobody's way. You know, I can't imagine what it would have been like if we were like a school that had like, I don't know, 12 5-star recruits. I'm not naming particular individual schools that we competed against, but like if it was that way, I can tell you right now we wouldn't have liked each other. Like because we would all had egos. Like if I would have walked in the door like as a McDonald's All-American, like I don't know what I would have been. Like if I was a freshman coming in as like a McDonald's All-American, I couldn't tell you what like my mentality, and I had to like put my head down and learn a lot of stuff along the way. And
So now you're in a locker room that is full of guys who were the best player their whole life. So now, like now are you experiencing that dynamic now where it's like, yeah, we're basically all 5-star recruits
it
at the
happens.
NBA level.
Like it happens, but that goes back to the point of like in the NBA, like you can have, if you have good veterans in your locker room, like if you have good people who have been through like what it takes to make it in the NBA, like all of that kind of gets swallowed up. But like I said, like if you don't have like a teammate like a Michael Jordan, where it's like he's willing to address the tough situations, and that can be a tough situation sometimes. Like you have a 19, 20-year-old kid who's coming in that's a lottery pick that is expecting like things just to be handed to him when you walk into the NBA. That's not how it is. Like you got to realize these are people's livelihoods, people's jobs. Like they care too much to let like somebody's ego walk into a room and completely have some sort of effect on how the rest of their career is going to go. So like in the NBA, like having older guys kind of takes care of all of that. People who have like years and have been through a hard career and seen what it takes to get to where they are. In college, like imagine being an 18-year-old McDonald's All-American walking in and seeing a former 1-year removed McDonald's All-American and having that guy tell you what to do. It's like, why am I listening to you? We're basically in the same exact position. But like when you're walking into a room and you're 19, 20 and there's a 32-year-old guy that's been in the league for 12 years on your team, you're going to listen to what he has to say because he knows what he's talking about.
So who's been that guy in your locker rooms?
It was, well, in Charlotte, it was Marvin Williams. He's the one that taught – he taught me pretty much everything. Like how to work, you know, how to treat people, you know, not just from like a coaching staff, but like literally all the people, interns within the organization, video room guys, just – how to include everyone and make everyone, you know, because the players make a lot of, not everyone who works in the NBA makes a lot of money. Like the players make a lot of money, but then there's people that are like slaving away in video rooms trying to get their shot and make it for themselves. Like coming in, rebounding, working hard in practice, just doing all the little things that helps you be the best player you can be. And it's about treating those people right too. And he's the one that kind of taught me about all that.
So on a young team now in Phoenix, are you the veteran? Who is that guy for you now?
I think I'm the third oldest guy on the team, which is kind of ridiculous. I try to be, you know, like I said, I'm not sure. This is only my 5th year, so there's still things that I'm learning. I'm still kind of gathering all the information that I can gather. You know, I'm going from one organization, how things are run one certain particular way, and going to a different organization, how they're done completely different than that. So you're still learning things. It's a fluid situation, but I know enough at this point to be able to give information to the younger guys on our team. And I try to do that. You know, not everyone is always receptive of everything you have to say because each experience is kind of individualized within a group setting, but I try. I don't know if people listen, but I give my opinion freely. You can either take it or leave it.
They keep voting for you anyway.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Suns roster. Yeah, you have one player 30 or over. Aaron Baines is 33. He's the only guy like that.
Yeah.
I also see that you got Kelly Oubre. Do you remember the shoes Kelly Oubre wore to the draft?
No.
They were like
the spiky ones. The spiky ones. Yeah.
Yes. Is he still? I wonder if he still has those. Huh?
That's how he is. He's an out there guy. Like he's not afraid to put himself out there.
Okay, you're also teammates with Devin Booker. You have history with him from the Final Four. How often does that come up, if ever?
He gave up 4 and 1s in one game. It's almost impossible.
He in the Wisconsin game?
Yeah, he gave up 4 and 1s.
So how often does that game come up between you and he?
Not often, like because there's not the biggest debate that comes up honestly in our locker room is, because we have Mikal Bridges with Villanova, national championships. Ty Jerome coming off winning the national championship with Virginia. We have a lot of people who have had success in the NCAA tournament. So the biggest debate that comes up is whose team would beat who. And I always say it's us. Like, I don't know, even the game we lost for the national championship, like we shouldn't have lost it. Like,
I
the
know.
way that it could have been lost is the way that it was lost. So that's
Winslow touched it.
I was just going to say, when's the last time you told Justice Winslow he touched it?
And it's just like little things. It's just like little jabs. Like I tell Ty Jerome, it's like, yeah, you win the national championship, but the year before you lost to a 16 seed. So like, you don't have like the full, like you had 1 year of getting extremely lucky. That's what I like to say. Like there was no luck involved in what we did. Not even a little bit. Like leading up to like all the games we played, there wasn't like a time where we had to like pull something out of a hat. Like we just won. Like we just truly beat the other team.
Yeah, the team you played in the Sweet 16, North Carolina, was a Final Four caliber team.
Yeah, they won.
So was Arizona. Kentucky was once in a generation. Duke was once in a generation. Yeah, like that was about the hardest path you could possibly have.
Yeah, and the teams we beat to get there, like we beat them. Like it wasn't like we're hitting buzzer beater shots like game after game. Like we're winning these games and like we're winning them. Like we were winning.
You're better.
Yeah, because we were the better team.
And because Sam went crazy against Arizona.
We all did. I mean, I had like I was looking at the stats when that game was on. I don't watch any of those games. I don't know. I don't like watching myself play that much. But I was looking at the stats. I had a bad game, like considering for our team. Like our team shot so well from the field. I was like 9 for 20, and that's a bad game. Or 11, like 9 or 10 for 20.
You had their big men talking to themselves.
I missed like 10 of our like 16 shots for the whole game.
You had their big men talking to themselves, though, man. Ashley and Tarzuski.
I've actually had so TJ McConnell. After that, I did a couple pre-draft workouts with him, and he was telling me. So Tarzuski dunked on me in that game, and I got pissed, like, because he stared at me, and like I could tell in his scare, like he's like thought that was gonna like intimidate me, and I scored on him like 3 plays in a row after that. And TJ McConnell told me he was in a timeout with him, and just looked at him and said, "Why would you do that? Why would you do that?"
He poked the bear.
I mean, he did poke the bear. Like, I don't know. I took everything. It's like MJ. It's like you just take the smallest thing just completely personally, and I still do that to today.
After
like
that game,
if somebody pisses me off, like I want to embarrass you. Like I do. Like it's just this feeling like I won't feel satisfied until you are embarrassed.
That does sound like Michael Jordan. After that game, you and Sam hugged on the court, and I remember hearing afterwards what you guys said to each other. Do you remember what you said to each other after that game?
No.
Now you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like either you said it to him or he said it to you about like we just made millions of dollars, because basically like he put himself, because in that game he put himself in that like I'm a first round pick now guarantee.
I felt Sam was always going to, and me and Sam used to have conversations during that year like all the time about. I mean, I knew, everyone knew that was going to be Sam's last year there. I mean, it was a foregone conclusion at that point. Like, we both could have probably left the year before, but neither of us wanted to, and we talked about that a lot. So, it's just we did what we had to do to get ourselves to where we wanted to be. Like, no one did it. No one gave us a handout. No one did it for us. Like, we accomplished that. And I used to tell Sam that a lot over the course of that year. It's like we're going to do this. Like, we are doing this. Like, we're going to be exactly where we want to be. And I mean, I don't want to take it in, but Nigel could have left with us too, I think. Like, it's just, but like when you play for a school like that and you achieve that success, like you don't want to leave. And like, that's something I'll always give Nigel a lot of respect for. Like, you see these other teams, like players get a drop of success in the NCAA and they book it out of town. It's like, I have a lot more respect for people who stay and cement their legacy in college than people who get 2 years in, have a decent season, have a little NBA buzz, and then just dip out. Like Sam and I had that, and we could have left, but we went back to achieve something greater than both of us, something that would last for a long time, and we accomplished it. And that was kind of the game that cemented, like, okay, everything we did and everything we stayed for and everything we worked for was like, it paid off.
I don't know, man. For a guy who says for a guy who says he doesn't have perspective on these things yet, that seems like some pretty good perspective on what you guys accomplished.
I'm still gathering it. I understand like some aspects of it, but like everything as a whole, like it's hard to completely talk about because like I don't know. Like we've been asked to do like these Big Ten elite stuff. Like my opinion from 2 years ago or 3 years ago is probably completely different than the opinion that I have. Right. Like I would have never said something like that like 3 years ago. And that's the part, like it's always evolving and always maturing. And you start to realize things like as life goes on, like that's what that meant.
And to your point, you're not done yet. Nobody ever wants to live their life thinking they've already done the best thing they're ever going to do. You know,
Yeah.
Even if it ends up maybe being that, you don't, you gotta get.
I haven't done the best thing I'm ever going to do. And that's the crazy part. Like some people may perceive that as the best thing I've ever done is that run, like what I did and what I accomplished at Wisconsin. But the best thing I ever do is kind of that part's up to me. And that's the part that I still look to achieve. Like, I don't know if I've done the best thing I've ever done. Like it might be that might be it. But to me, like there's still something inside of me where I don't think that's it.
What do you think, Mason? Are we done here? We've taken an hour of his time. What else do you want to talk about, Frank? We good? We covered it all?
I don't know. You tell me, huh?
All right.
No, I think we checked all the boxes there.
Yeah, we'll just have you on again in a couple of weeks, and we'll figure out what happened in the next few weeks.
Yeah, we'll just give you 2 weeks more perspective, so your answers can change again.
Yes. It might be able to. I don't know.
Hey,
something might happen in the next 2 weeks. I don't know. I might meet the love of my life, and then everything completely changes.
Oh, yeah, that's a topic for another day.
Not gonna happen, but it might.
Hey, Frank, thanks so much for the time, man. I love talking to you. I'm so happy that you're healthy again, and I hope that you guys get back on the court soon and get to finish the season. I really do. Just for myself as a sports fan, I need to see that.
I need it just for mental sanity.
Yeah, and that you can get a haircut someday.
I'm actually going. They're open now. I'm going for a Viking. So I'm leaving it part long on top, and I'm going for the Viking look.
As long as the beard stays.
Netflix show, Last Kingdom. All you need to do, just go look at their hair in there, and then just you'll understand. You'll be like, yeah, that's what he's talking about.
All right, that's our homework.
Yes.
Thanks, Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
Talk to you.
Appreciate it. That was fun.